Greetings everyone, Slizzle466 here, and in today's video, we're looking at some of the best off-meta decks to climb with for October 2020. First up, we have Reno Demon Hunter by Martian. This is a list that he took to Legend, and it's an Azoth list, so it's got a lot of your classic death rattles such as Sludge Belcher, Cartoot Defender, Rotten Applebomb, Bad Luck Albatross. You've also got some kind of fun cards in here like Glide. This is pretty hilarious when your quest mage finishes their quest and then you shuffle their Time Warp back into their deck. And it's just an all-around, very tempo-based, value-oriented deck. And if you do run out of stuff to do, you've got Archivist Elsiana just to give you some extra value against some of the slower decks you might queue into in the meta. Moving over to Hunter, we have a Spiteful Hunter by Roy Rigatoni. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with how Spiteful decks work, basically you want to play Spiteful Summoner on 6, reveal a spell from your deck. You want that to be a big spell. So in this case, we're looking at Call of the Wild and Nagran Slam. And while we're working our way to get to that Spiteful Summoner, we've just got some good value removal, premium minions, to get to that high roll on turn 6. Looking at Paladin, we've got a few decks to look at here. We've got a Reno Paladin by Kira Yamato. This is a OTK Shivala list. It's very spicy. A little bit on the expensive side, so you notice I'm missing a couple cards myself, so I'll have to craft those if I want to test this out. But it's a little slow, but it's incredibly greedy, incredibly fun. Something you might want to try out if you're the sort of person who likes playing control paladin decks. If you want something a little faster, there's Secret Paladin by Photon. So this is the Secret Paladin from the good old days with Mysterious Challenger. It's been updated to reflect the new Scholomance Academy expansion. And so if you like playing things on curve, telling people that it's none of your business, this is the deck for you. The last Paladin deck to look at is a Libram Paladin by Reno Jackson. That's also had success by other players such as Optimus Prime on the Europe server. And this is basically very similar to the Libram Paladin that you see in Standard. However, there's a tech with the Molten Giants and the Chevalier and the Holy Wrath. You've got the High Priest, the Cull, to get those Molten Giants out early if you need to, if you happen to draw them. But otherwise, if you're lucky, or if you reorder your deck with Porkelt, you can slam him in the face for 20 or 25 damage with Holy Wrath. Moving over to Priest, we've got Corbett's Combo Dragon Priest, which I've made videos about in the past. It's just a solid list. A lot of players tend to shy away from Combo Priest, but I think it's actually quite good. And so this is a very strong deck if you want to ladder with. Guess what's back? Big Priest, courtesy of Succulent. So Big Priest has transitioned into more of an anti-aggro style list. So you'll notice we're kind of light on minions. We've got the Vargoth, of course. We've got the Lich King, Obsidian Statue, and Yasharj. And it's basically just all about not getting run over by aggro against control, bringing those minions back over and over. You've got Psychic Scream for value. You've got Mass Resurrection for extra value on top of the Spellstone. So it's a little bit on the slow side, so that's why you see cards like Holy Smite and Penance being run to survive the early game. But once you get those Resurrects going, whether it's off your Vargoth or your Shadow Essence, you're in a pretty good spot. Looking at Shaman, we got 3 Shaman lists to look at. The first one being Nope Clapper's Reno Shaman. This is actually a really cool list. It's actually an aggro list. So this is a face Shaman deck, but it is a Highlander deck. So, you know, you got your Reno, sure. You got your Zeph, but you've got a lot of your classic aggro Shaman cards. You've got your Doomhammer, you've got your Leroy, you've got Wind Fury in there. So really cool list, definitely something that I want to give a bit of a spin on the ladder with. If you want something a little slower in the Shaman category, you could try out White Delight's Galacron Shaman. This is a list that he took to Legend. As you can see, it's also a Shadowwalk list, but it's not a Reno list. The reason for that is you need to have duplicates of the Invoke cards to get the Galacron the Tempest going. Again, the Porkelt's in there to help you get to your Shadowwalk or get to your Galacron. And it's just a very control style list with a lot of stall, with Loatheb, a lot of heal, Plague of Murlocs to deal with big threats, and in the right hands it can be piloted to Legend or even High Legend. It's a very strong take on Galacron Shaman. The last Shaman to look at is a very aggressive Totem Shaman by Yuki Helius. So as you can see here, it looks very similar to Even Shaman in a way, with all of the early game totems. However, because you want to have, Tunnel Trogs, you want to be able to cheat things out with Tour Guide, Surging Tempest. So it's almost like an aggro druid in a way. It finishes off with Bloodlust if necessary, or a Splitting Axe, or a Totemic Reflection, just to get value. And the games end very quickly, whether it's a win or a loss. The last list I want to look at is a Bomb Warrior by Seko. Now, Bomb Warrior is great if you are queuing into a ton of Reno Priest. It punishes them pretty hard by shoving lots and lots of bombs into their deck. Also keep in mind that for Reno Priest or any deck that runs Porkelt, when you shuffle those bombs into their decks, it undoes the Porkelt effect, reshuffles your opponent's deck. You'll also notice that I'm a little lighter on decks than usual in this video, and that's simply because the meta is in a pretty polarized state right now. Reno Priest is really, really strong. Discard Warlock is really, really strong. So you've got a very strong control deck, a very slow aggro, a very strong aggro deck, and it's kind of polarizing the meta. So it's difficult to experiment too much right now, but hopefully with a new expansion coming up soon, we can see a little bit more variation in off-meta decks in Wild. If you want to give any of these decks a try, you'll find the deck codes in the description below. And if you're a mobile user, you might find it easier to join my Discord, link in the description below. Visit the Deck Lists Only channel so that you can get access to those deck codes easily. You can also help support this channel by clicking the subscribe button, clicking the notification bell, and until next time, hope to see you again.